Welcome back. Third episode, the Wake Up Bank Up. Big slate today, so we're going to have to go kind of quick. Did take down my first tournament yesterday, so that was fun. Had the, wasn't the Angels, it was the Boston stack for the most part. Got kind of scary at the end. I wound up having like 185 points, but my last two hitters kind of went cold. I was at 180 pretty early. And then my last two hitters got kind of cold, but we wound up taking it home. So good feeling to get one early. But anyways, let's get started for today. Like I said, 12 games, so we're not going to go into detail about all the games. I mean, we're going to talk about them, but not all of them are going to have a full amount of things to say. So as you can see, and we talk about it every time until I can figure out something, we're going to go through the free non-paywall version of Roto-Grinders. I've already went through and kind of gotten rid of hitters, kind of made it a condensed list or whatever. But as you can see, this is going to be ranked by price. This is just people in play. I'm not saying I'm playing all of them. I'm only playing 1 to 5 lineups. I'm not doing the whole 20 for today. But this is my ranking based on point per dollar. Not saying the best plays with the highest upside. I'm not saying, the safest plays. It's just basically, they're all going to be risky. They're all going to be we'll talk about it. So to start off, we got Freddie Peralta. If you're new to the game, well, he's boom or bust. There's no in the middle. High K upside guy, 40% kind of guy. I talked about him last time, but same exact matchup too. I hope he's not chalky because I'm going there. I'm a big fan of his stuff. He's just got to throw strikes. That's been his problem. So, honestly, it's not even exaggerating. It's probably 50-50 flip if he goes negative or if he goes for 24. I mean, that's just kind of how he is. So, great tournament play. Do not touch in cash. As a Rangers fan, I am saying this is probably your building block is Glasnow. Or you could go Garrett Cole and cash. The only thing I worry about that game is it's going to be hot, wind's blowing out. So maybe not. He's due to give up home runs. Glasnow is a better matchup, but I don't hate Garrett Cole. A lot of this will come down to percentages. Knowing we do this earlier in the day, we don't get the percentages and all that stuff. So next guy would be Rodon. I mean, so he's a few years removed from being close to Cy Young numbers, and we're seeing his velo back after a few injuries. So I think they said he hit like over 50% of his fastballs were over 98 last game. So his velo's back. He looked good. He looked sharp. Cleveland is awful at hitting. So I love Rodon. I wouldn't hate going Peralta. This will probably come down to a percentage play and how much I need bats. I think we'll be able to find enough bats, but a lot of these places have bats really marked up right now. So there is a stack that I do like a lot. It's a little bit cheaper that we could maybe find a little value, but just building lineups, I don't know how much money we'll have to go up to Glasnow or not, but ideally I'd like to. Ideally I'd like to run these two, but is what it is. Wade Miley, I don't really necessarily think he's my fourth favorite pitcher. I think it's point per dollar. Same with Dane Dunning. This is matchup based, big ballpark, wind blowing in. He pitched good last time, but we know Wade Miley. He's not. His upside isn't really. His last game is pretty much his ceiling. So look at it that way. We haven't seen his floor yet. His floor is 2 points. So I had him marked down, I think, for like 15 points, maybe 16. So that's probably why he sits there. Dane Dunning, again, I think we didn't see ceiling, but right now ceiling because the Rangers, one, they're terrible. Tampa is not an awful offense, but they're not great. Good ballpark to pitch in. Doesn't have the strikeout upside yet. Is only low 20s. I think I have it right here. Yeah, he's low 20s, so not really there. It's a safe play, I think, for 12 to 15. He won't. I don't think he'll get destroyed, but he's not going to get you 30. Maybe more of a cash play if you love a stack or something like that. This wouldn't be a bad cash play. Now, cash play, I probably wouldn't go there. I'd probably go one here or there, but I don't hate it. Garrett Cole, we talked about it. Toronto's good offense. Playing at Toronto, which is in Florida. Wind's blowing out. It's hot. They strike out a lot. He's a good pitcher. Highest ceiling of all of them, I believe. So, again, if his ownership is super high, no way I'm touching it. If his ownership is below 10, and let's say Glasnow gets like 40, you make plays like that, right? So Mize, I don't know why people hate on this dude. I mean, the minor leagues, he's going absolutely bananas. I know it hasn't really transferred over to the majors yet, but he's a good pitcher. I don't think right now he's a great pitcher in the major leagues, but I think he's going to just take time and he's going to blossom. But would be strictly a price play. Houston doesn't strike out a lot. What you're going to hope for is you hope for 5 clean innings, 5 innings with maybe 1 or 2 runs, 5-6 Ks, get you 20 points and get out. Highly unlikely, but you got to leave him in the pool. Chris Bassett, I don't know what happened to his strikeouts. He hasn't been striking out a lot of people lately. Not really sure what happened there, but again, this is a matchup play. I don't know if Arizona will have the roof open or not. I looked earlier. Let me check again. Yeah, it doesn't say. If the roof's closed, I don't hate it just because Arizona just isn't great, and they lost Cattell. Vice versa, we'll talk about that offense later. But, I mean, they're a little bit hot right now. So, I don't really care for it, but it's there. Greinke, I'm not a big fan. It's more of just the offense of Detroit sucks, but he's not Zach Greinke of old. Cobb versus KC. Again, KC strikes out a lot. They're a boomer bust offense. Ballpark, winds blowing in. The whole spring training about him kind of rejuvenating his career he didn't pitch bad last time, but the price kind of sucks. So it's kind of there in Alcantara. Outside of, honestly, Acuna, Freeman, and Albies, I mean, the lineup's just not hitting. So I'm not going there with none. Wind is blowing out in Atlanta. They do strike out a lot. It wouldn't surprise me if you see a max game from Sandy, but it wouldn't surprise me either if he threw up a negative. So that's where we're at with pitching. Hitting, so like I said, we're going to go through. I can't really show like numbers or percent ownerships or anything like that, but just kind of quickly talk through each game. This Kramer guy, there's not really a lot of information on him. I did see that the wind is blowing sideways, projected at game time. Baltimore is a little sandbox. It looks like it'll play pretty close to neutral, which is good because Baltimore's tiny. Let's see. I don't have a lot on Kramer. I believe he's a rookie. Let's see, Dean Kramer. Hard contact was limited. Looked like fly balls. His last outing was in New York, so, I mean, take that for what it's worth. I mean, he just doesn't have a lot on him. Apparently, the minors, he showed good K upside, but hasn't really showed it yet. So how I approach this game is fly ball guy in the major so far. Small ballpark. You got to take your shots. I think more or less this would be like a mini stack situation. I don't mind the full. It's just I don't really like their lineup for a full. So a good 3-man within this would be ideal. I love Haney. Ty France he's on or off. Kyle Seager's smoking the ball. Evan White just still hasn't showed that power he showed in the minors, but it's there. Jose, I mean, same idea. He's not hitting great. I think he just returned. Yeah, so power is there, but it's just inconsistent. I love Taylor. So my favorite plays would be, I think I have them in order over here. I would love to show you. Yeah, Taylor, Seager, and then Haniger in that order. Trammell just because we were talking about needing salary. I mean, 3.8, 3.1, even 4.5 for Seager, who just went nuts yesterday. He's starting to hit. You're starting to see good, positive numbers going forward. I don't like that. I don't mind that 3-man, but it's definitely not going to be a core or anything. Baltimore is kind of the same thing. Justice isn't a terrible pitcher. I know back in the day when he was with New York as a minor leaguer, like he was the next coming. Hasn't really showed off yet. Gives up power to the right side. I mean, it's just kind of a blah play in a good ballpark. Trey Mancini's starting to hit the ball a little better. I think 2 bombs in 2 days, yeah. Like that. Santander's fine. Mountcastle's fine. Franco hits lefties pretty good. And Severino does too. So, again, another like a little 3-man stack here. Or if you one off, I mean, it's a prize play in a good ballpark against an average pitcher. It's kind of this whole game. I wouldn't go too gnarly here. The lineups just aren't that good. But I wouldn't mind seeing like a little 3-3-2, But I'll probably run either side of this at least once. I'm not sure yet. New York, Robbie Ray. Again, it's at the Toronto, Florida Stadium. Let's see. They were showing some crazy numbers earlier. Toronto, yeah. So projected to be high to mid 70s, wind blowing out in Florida, and a small ballpark. So I'm personally not going here. I know Robbie Ray is a walk-a-thon, home run-a-thon, or strikeout-a-thon. That's just always been his MO. The Yankees lineup, as much as they get talked about, I don't just love them as a full stack. They're expensive. They're always popular. So I choose to avoid them a lot. These are the people I left in. I think I left out like Frazier, Hicks, and Jay Bruce. I mean, no. LeMahieu's such a good hitter. He's just not hot right now. He's not typically a major home run guy. He's a contact guy, but he's just very consistent. He's a good cash guy. Judge, I don't know if it's changed in a while, but I know early on, even through last year, he hits righties better than lefties. Doesn't mean I'm not going to play Judge. It's just, Robbie Ray, the next better, like Giancarlo, he smokes lefties compared to righties. So, Aaron's better hitter, but Giancarlo's in a better spot. So, again, 5.5, 5.7. If we're paying up for pitching, I don't really love it. And if they're going to be 30% owned, it's kind of whatever. Glaber's just not hitting the ball well right now, period. Gary does not do well versus strikeout pitchers, and we know Robbie Ray's a strikeout or bust pitcher. And then Gio, that's only because I watched his game yesterday, and he does look like he's starting to maybe get back into rhythm a little bit, so it wouldn't be surprising if he pops one off. But maybe one-off power if you need it. If you want to play the full stack, go for it. It's just going to be popular. You're going to be with everybody else. I'm just not huge on it. Toronto's versus Garrett Cole, so no. Philly is Peterson. So Peterson did not pitch well. I know my Mets fans are pretty high on him. I just think he's kind of average. Big ballpark, winds blowing in. I don't really care for this game at all. I mean, McCutchen would be a price play. He hits lefties better than righties. Reese is hitting the ball well. Bryce hitting the ball well. Real Muto's expensive, but he's a good catcher. And Baum. I'm just a big fan of Alec Baum. Hits lefties well. He should be in a good part of the lineup. He's hitting well right now. Well, okay. But, again, maybe one-offs. If you want to run a little 3-man, I don't hate it. It's just big ballpark, wind blowing in. Average pitcher. Doesn't really push the needle either way. One-offs maybe, but I would stick within this little 5-man right here. What is that, Brett Anderson or Chase? I think it's Chase Anderson. We got, Chase Anderson. So Chase Anderson, same idea on the other side. Maybe take power here. McNeil, man, he hit that walk-off the other day. That was cool, but he's usually – sorry, my dogs. We have a big window over here, and they like to bark at literally anything and everything. Anyways, back to it. So Lindor, he's not hitting the ball well right now. But it's Lindor. Dominic Smith, he's just so hit or miss, and he does not look like he's hitting the ball well right now. Pete Alonso, power, I'll take it all day versus contact guy. Jeff McNeil, like I was saying, he's just seen the ball well. Good hitter in general, and same with Conforto. Again, big ballpark. Limit your shares, but I don't mind. At max, a 3-man here. Texas Tampa have no hitters in the game. It's Glasnow versus Dane Dunning. Dane Dunning limits hard contact. Not really a strikeout guy, but Tampa's not a place I really play anyways. I'm not going to play Glasnow against Glasnow. Texas bats are just maybe a one-off, but I'm not sweating it. This is an interesting game. I don't hate it. So, apparently is reverse splitsy. There's not a lot of data on him. He's not a horrible pitcher. He's just kind of there. Doesn't give up a lot of hard contact. Doesn't really do much of anything, really. I mean, limits it. Ground ball pitcher. So if anything, you want power fly ball bats. Reverse splitsy, but Corey Dickerson is just a good platoon guy in general. Marte's interesting, but he's 5'8". I mean, give me 4K Marte, and I think that's a great play. But 5'8", I mean, yeah, that's Trout prices. Like, give me Trout versus anybody instead of Marte versus But I don't hate it. It's there. I love the Aguilar play 3-3. He's not hitting the ball great right now, but the wind's blowing out. Small ballpark. If he's reverse splitsy, that just lines up for Jesus. Duvall's kind of the same thing. Righty, reverse splits, ton of power. And Jazz, man, I love plays that can do everything. Jazz could steal 2 bases and 1 at bat, and it wouldn't surprise me, But his problem is right now is he strikes out a lot, not great average. He's boom or bust. Pricey, give me prices at 3-3, and I'll take chances like that. But 5'8", I love him, but I just can't. I can't do 5'8". Atlanta, Sandy Alcantara pretty much does it all. He limits hard contact, good strikeout. He's if his weakness is anything, it's versus lefties, but it's not terrible. Good strikeout pitcher. Like I was saying earlier, Atlanta is just not. They're not hitting the ball great right now, but ballpark plays, weather plays. I think Sandy and Acuna have some BVP. I think he's the one who hit him, right? And he charged. Contra ESPN. So BVP wise, I think Acuna's owned him. 0 for 8. Just kidding. Aussies, no. Ozuna, no. I mean, even BVP is not there. I don't mind a one-off. Atlanta's one you can always full stack, maybe mini stack. I'm personally, as of right now, I'm not going there. I think if anything, I might go Freeman just because he's literally an MVP. Ozzy is hitting the ball a little better. I mean, 1 for 5 isn't great, but it was a home run. Acuna's on fire. I don't hate Acuna ever. 6K, I mean, again, do you take Trout versus anybody? Or don't get me wrong, Acuna is a top 10 player, but the matchup's not great. Ozuna, Travis are okay. Darno's hitting the ball okay. He's better versus lefties, but it's just not really there yet. Chicago, Milwaukee. Oh, yeah, so this is Freddie Peralta versus Ozole. So I'm pretty high on Peralta, so I'll not be playing any Cubs bats. As for the other side of Ozole, I know he's one of their top prospects. That's all I can really say about him. Hasn't really been amazing. Milwaukee, for being a dome, I would say is 60-40 to hitter's advantage. It's not great, but it's for being a dome, it actually plays a little smaller. I do kind of like this stack as a little low-key, cheaper stack. Looks like Keston's finally breaking out of his little shell. He's a righty smasher, so he's a reverse trend. Most of the time you like right versus left versus right. Ozole was pretty neutral. Not much either side. Hard contact is marginal. Literally, it's just neutral down the middle. He does give up power to lefties. So Yelich is a good play. 5.6 isn't bad. He loves playing at home. He's always been a better hitter at home. Avisel is just on fire. And honestly, he's just one of my favorite hitters. Most underlooked, one of the most underlooked in the league. Shaw, because Alzolay doesn't strike out a lot of people, I don't hate it. That's kind of the people you need for Shaw. Same with Omar. Omar is pretty hot and splits neutral for this ballpark. So, honestly, I don't mind this 5-man. I don't think I'm going there. I might throw up, a 2 or 3, even possibly a 4 on my other side, my secondary stack. But I do like this stack more than a lot of the other ones we talked about, more than probably everything but Seattle and Baltimore. Again, it's just a play because Osleigh's okay. Milwaukee's starting to hit the ball a little better. Park's okay. It's for what we've seen, it works out okay. Next we got Washington and Seattle. Gant isn't a horrible pitcher. Seattle's not a great ballpark. I think the wind's blowing out. Wind's blowing pretty much neutral. So look at this as literally being neutral. Gant doesn't have much of anything that you want to see from a hitter standpoint. Yeah, ground ball pitcher, limits hard contact. Pretty much it. But I don't mind one-offs here. And if I would go anywhere, it'd be with the Trey Turner. Sorry, I got to get it updated over here. It's harder to go faster. I feel like you're going too fast. But Trey Turner, he's just a good hitter. Same with Soto. Price is pretty expensive. Turner's fast, so ground ball pitchers don't really hurt him. Soto's a fly ball pitcher and arguably top 5 hitter in the league. He's a top 5 hitter, sorry. Zimmerman strictly because price play in a good position, fly ball hitter. And Avila is a splatooner. Cheap price. Don't love it, don't hate it. I would keep out a 1-man here and just maybe try picking one off. Fetty is just not very good, but St. Louis isn't very good either. Edman I never play, but he's there. If I stayed anywhere, it'd probably be within these 4. Again, just a one-off. Fetty is a pitch contact guy, so you stay with your power, and, that's about it. Not much to say here, just maybe a one-off. Cleveland is versus Carlos Rodon, and I'm not a big fan of their lineup anyways. Tristan McKenzie. Okay, this one is actually a little interesting. So let's look at the weather. So I remember looking, yeah. So the wind's blowing out and projected to be around 70 degrees today. Chicago isn't really necessarily a hitter's park, but it's showing us pretty good data on it should be pretty hitter-friendly today. So Tristan McKenzie is a big-time prospect for Cleveland. They have always done really good with developing prospects and things like that. His numbers in the minors have been great. But here's the deal, is he limits hard contact, but he does not get a lot of ground balls. So he's a fly ball pitcher, young, in a bad hitter's environment versus a pretty good hitting team. Now, they're not as good with, Tim Anderson and Eloy, but these guys right here all have pop for the most part and could really ruin a rookie's day. So it's a weird situation, but I do like Chicago today. Eaton has just been on fire, period. Lubob and Abreu and Makata, I don't need to say more. I know they're not necessarily on fire per se, but this is a spot you go back home. Tristan gives up bombs. Abreu if this kid gets in any kind of out of position mentally, Abreu's a guy that has such a good eye that is going to walk 4 times any day. Lou Bob will strike out a lot, but all he has to do is get the bat on the ball. Moncada is better from the left side. Going to bat 4th or 5th. Love it. I mean, what more do I have to say about Mercedes? He's crushing the ball right now. Same with Grandal. He's better from the left side. He should be hitting 2. And then Andrew Vaughn is just cheap pop. I don't mind the 5-man here. I think it'll be low owned. I hope it'll be low owned because this might be my 5-man. Maybe I run a 4 and 4 today. Not to say that I absolutely love it, but per the slate and possibly per ownership, this is a very, very sneaky play. Now, on the other side, Tristan does strike out a lot of people. So if he can figure out how to avoid bats, it wouldn't surprise me to see Tristan have a pretty solid game. But as we saw for spring training, I mean, I think in like 15 innings, he gave up 7 home runs or something like that. So there will be some home runs in this game. It's just you got to be right. And if you get this kid out early, then you go to Cleveland's bullpen, which isn't absolutely terrible. But if you're losing 7-0 in the second inning, you're going to start throwing out long relievers and, let the snowball take place. So I don't hate a 5-man here. Probably going to stick with like a 4. My favorite plays per data is... So I have Eden Moncada. I don't really like him there. So Yerman and Lubob. I love Abreu as a hitter. He's just not hitting the ball well. Grandal is just expensive. But anyways, I like Chicago. They're up there as some of my favorite plays. I don't have anybody in this Detroit-Houston game. I think people are disrespecting Casey Mize. I think he's a good pitcher. He looked good last outing. I'm not playing him just because Houston doesn't strike out a lot. But I'm hearing people are high ownershiping Houston bats, which I know their ballpark, it depends on, it kind of plays, it plays pole to pole hitter, but dead center isn't, too close. But I just don't see it. I don't see why people think Casey gives up a lot of home runs. If anything, it's more or less he walks and gets himself in bad situations, which forces him to throw down the middle. So I guess you'd call that a home run threat. But, I mean, if he's on, he's got nasty stuff. I don't really hit against Greinke. I know someone's going to hit a home run, but I'm not trying to throw a dart at it. I feel like we're making decent time here. I feel like, if anything, I'm going too fast, but, a lot of games, so we got to talk about them. Brady Singer versus the Angels. It's in Kansas City. I think weather is blowing in. Yeah, it's showing big time for pitchers right now. Kansas City is a big ballpark. If this was playing somewhere different, maybe I would have a little bit more interest in it. But because of the ballpark is so bad, you just take your power, take your talent, Shohei and Trout and Walsh versus a righty. No matter the circumstance, you give it a chance. But more of like a last piece in kind of deal, not a first piece in. Same with Kansas City. Alex Cobb has looked better. He was really good in Tampa, then has a few injuries and has had a few bad years. So he had all the spring training hype. He looked pretty good his first start. Again, I'm not all in on a game in Kansas City with the wind blowing in, but I don't hate these plays. Like, Soler can hit the ball out of any ballpark. Witt could literally hit a triple and steal 7 bases and wouldn't surprise me. So those would be my 2 main plays. The others are kind of just wraps. Salvi's a good hitter. The only reason why I have all of them is in case Cobb does turn into Cobb of the last few years and you get into that bullpen, and then I could see one of those just BABIP kind of games where it just keeps rolling and rolling, but I don't really love it. It's there. Last 2 games is Arizona-Oakland. Now this one's interesting. So Bumgarner's trash now. Does not limit anything. Balls in the air. Just not Bumgarner of old. After that shoulder surgery, he just lost a lot. His velo's down. He's not locating as well. He's trying to do more things like throw more off speed, but it's just not the same. Arizona, if the ballpark is playing open today, I say this is a game stack, hitter stack, both sides. If it's closed, it might be a little bit more neutral. But if it's open, I mean, you can play all of them. If it's closed, maybe stick with like maybe your right-handed power. I wouldn't say Jed's really powered, but he's a good hitter. Olsen does hit both sides okay, but I would stay. And Piscotty, I mean, at 2.7, if the ballpark's open, I bet he's not hitting very well, but he just smashes lefties. So Oakland will be a fun play today. I hope it's open because this will be probably the best game environment for hitting. On the other side, again, Bass is not a horrible pitcher, so if it's closed, I don't mind these as a one-off. But if it's open, this might be a four-man stack I'm going with. Cole Calhoun smokes righties. Peralta the same. Is Drupal's just hitting good? And following him through his career, if he's kind of streaky or hitting good, you just play him. And Eduardo is smoking the ball right now. He's the same way, and he's literally, 4 games over 20. So if the ballpark roof is open, love this four-man. If it's not, you could take one. It is what it is. I don't really love or hate it. Last game is in San Francisco, so this will go quick as well. Big ballpark, wind blowing in. Meh. If this was anywhere else, I would be all in on Cincinnati again. As if you follow baseball, you know they're the hottest team in baseball. But big ballpark. Aaron Sanchez isn't a horrible pitcher. He's just one of those guys that got unlucky and has had a lot of injuries. But I don't mind little mini stacks here. I just don't think you're going to see 6 home runs. Like, if anything, you see 6 runs and it was 2 home runs and a bunch of doubles and singles and walks and yada, yada, yada. But favorite play would probably be Tyler, Winker. Castellanos kind of cooled off a little bit, but him and Moose are just good hitters. Barnhart's a prize play, same with India, but I don't hate them. And then last game is versus Wade. I'm not a big fan of San Francisco's bats, so it is what it is. If 2 guys hit a home run, it is what it is, but they're not hitting the ball very well right now. Big ballpark, same idea. Wade doesn't give up hard contact, but yeah, that's about it. Big day yesterday. Not much more to say for today. I'm trying to get this out as quick as possible. But, yeah, stay cool. Stay tuned in. Do like and sub so I keep staying motivated to actually do these things. But I will be starting to do stuff on the collectibles channel and the gaming channel. But as for today, that's all we have. Stay tuned. This is early. A lot of weather. Stay on the weather. Stay on any kind of, ballpark news and stuff like that. And good luck tonight.